there, welcome to CoreTV News at 4. I'm Geft Ogete. The presidency has released pictures showing ongoing renovation work at the presidential villa to buttress its position on why President Muhammadu Buhari is still operating from the fence house. This is in the aftermath of suggestions that the president was staying away from Aso Rock on the advice of spiritualists from Senegal. Presidential spokesman Gama Shehu had in a statement described the claims as baseless and unfounded. He maintained It's CoreTV News at 4. We do apologize for that. The Independent National Electoral Commission has scheduled a 3-day post-election review meeting and retreat for electoral officers, EOS administrative secretaries and resident electoral commissioners, RECs. INEC said in a statement that the 3-day retreat will start with a meeting with electoral officers on Monday, June 15th, scheduled to hold at the NAV Conference Hall, Kano District, Abuja. That administrative secretaries and resident electoral commissioners REC will hold on Wednesday 17th and Thursday 18th, respectively, at the Mediterranean Hotel, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Also, the commission is to validate the 2015 election report. The commission is to validate the 2015 election report on June 15. The validation will be a prelude to its presentation on June 29th. The Rivers State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in Abuja, has declined a request by the All Progressives Congress to inspect sensitive materials used by the Independent National Electoral Commission for the election in the state. Dakuku Peterside, who contested under APC's platform in the April 11th election, is challenging the victory of Governor Nyesom Wike on the grounds of irregularities and massive rigging. The petitioner, through his counsel Olumide Olujimi, asked the court to allow them invite forensic experts to inspect the ballot papers, incident forms, computers, and other materials used by the INEC for the election. But the three-man tribunal, led by Justice Muazu Bindiga, struck out the application on the use of forensic experts to inspect the election materials. Bindiga noted that it will take time beyond the duration of the tribunal to conduct a forensic test on the materials. The tribunal, however, granted other reliefs sought out by the petitioner. The panel did not communicate to the parties during the proceedings as to the next adjournment date. National leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, says he cannot recognize the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President. Tinubu, who was speaking at the party's national headquarters, said the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President is a kangaroo arrangement. The APC leader asked newsmen, however, he said should recognize Saraki as Senate President after he had defied his own party and put personal interest above national interest. He added that recognizing Saraki as Senate President will amount to endorsing impunity and will be against all he has worked for. He added that the former Kwara governor must show remorse for his action of putting personal interest ahead of group interest. He added that though he is not God, but he cannot endorse what is not good for the APC. The Independent National Electoral Commission has scheduled a 3-day post-election review meeting and retreat for electoral officers. Senators loyal to Senate President Bukola Saraki are insisting that President Muhammadu Buhari could not have summoned a meeting at the same time the 8th National Assembly was to be inaugurated. This was the explanation for showing up at the complex rather than attend a meeting at the International Conference Center. They also argued that there were at least 74 senators in the chamber of the day Saraki emerged as Senate President. Spokesman for the group, Dino Malaya, said at the news conference shortly after plenary that the inauguration and subsequent election was in line with due process.
Sent a proclamation letter to the National Assembly, and in that proclamation letter is stated categorically that the proclamation of the 8th Senate will be done at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. of the 9th of June 2015. How can Mr. President, that we know, in one hand send a letter of proclamation to the National Assembly, and in the other hand call for a meeting at the International Conference Center? And if Mr. President wants to meet legislators, the Defense House is there, the villa is there, the banquet hall is there. Why International Conference Center? However, did Mr. President eventually attend to anybody at the International Conference Center? Capital, no.
The group of senators opposed to the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President are heading to the lower court. The senators who were at the International Conference Center at the time of inauguration on Tuesday said at the news conference in Abuja that 57 senators cannot elect a Senate President. They described the election as unconstitutional and insist that they were heading for the court to challenge Saraki's election.
The first sign of a looming intra-party crisis was this act of disregard for protocol by Senator Oluremi Tinubu. This was soon followed by protestation by members of the Lawan group on the manner of Saraki's emergence.
The Constitution says that you must do it at so-so time. The Constitution says so. So there is discretion in it. So if there is no quorum in it, so many times we come to the chamber, we'll sit down and we'll have to wait for some members to come because we don't have quorum.
In driving for a united Senate, it should be reasonable to accommodate. If the desire is not to accommodate, but wherever anyone has advantage, he uses it maximally.
There was a counter-position, even though the Senate was not prepared to maintain the Lawan group's position.
Thirdly, I hereby stand to second the motion ably moved by the Deputy Senate President. I so second.
The group later addressed the press on their grievances and their intention.
Many senators came there after the event was done. And the most important aspect of electing any presiding officer of the Senate revolves around nomination. Every senator eligible must be present when nomination is made and closed. So when 53 senators are outside and you close nomination, definitely quorum has not been formed.
This is the first time we are witnessing this sad event that took place yesterday. In 2007, all of us were present. In 2011, all of us were also present. Yesterday, only 57 or 56 were present. That is most unprecedented in the history of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Senate, however, insists that President Buhari did not summon a meeting of APC senators. It also dismissed claims that Saraki's emergence was not in line with constitutional provisions.
On the issue of quorum, it is very clear, very, very clear. This is the standing orders of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Order 10 is clear. Order 10.1. The quorum of the Senate shall be 1/3 of the members of the Senate. I no go school. Oh. Please, 1/3 of 109 is what? 38. 1/3 of 109 is what? 38. And we had 76 people in attendance yesterday. I don't understand though.
And
We
although
did
the
not
Lawan
say
group
that
had made known its
the
plan to
quorum
go
was
to
not
court,
formed.
senators of like minds maintain that APC members in the Senate are not divided. This is in spite of what appears like a brewing leadership crisis in a Senate that has for 8 years been stable. The Senate had since adjourned to June 23.
The Senate has formally denied that former Senate President David Mark is now the Senate leader. Senator Dino Maleye made this clarification at the news conference at the National Assembly complex. He explained that the former president was only singled out to be sworn in separately as a mark of honor during Tuesday's inauguration.
There was a misrepresentation yesterday on NTA where it was erroneously stated that the highly respected Senator David Mark was sworn in as the majority leader. That story is baseless, has no iota of fact in it, is falsehood, and totally not true. What happened is that out of respect for the former Senate president, he was sworn in as an individual instead of the groupings that took place. So we are using this opportunity to correct the erroneous impression out there that he was sworn in as the Senate leader of the 8th Senate.
Senate President Bukola Saraki on Wednesday administered the oath of office on senators elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress who were absent from Tuesday's inauguration. 28 senators, including Hamid Lawan and George Akume, were sworn in, and all the federal lawmakers took turns to shake hands with the Senate President. Senator Oluremi Tinubu, however, chose not to shake hands with Saraki. It's CoreTV News at 4. We'll take this break. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360.
2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. It's CoreTV News at 4. Do not forget that you can also catch us on our social media platforms, facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And YouTube at youtube.com/CoreTV with the space news. Former Speaker of the House of Representatives and Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal on Wednesday paid a courtesy call on his successor Yakubu Dogara. He was accompanied by the former Deputy Speaker Emeka Ihedioha, along both serving and past legislators. The meeting, which lasted a few minutes, witnessed lots of pleasantries and exchange of goodwill messages. Former military governor of Lagos State, Mohammed Marwa, has returned to the All Progressives Congress with thousands of his supporters across Adamawa State barely a few weeks after resigning from the People's Democratic Party. This was contained in a statement issued on Wednesday in Yola, Adamawa State, by his media aide Bello Zubairu. The former administrator said the decision to return to the APC was jointly reached at a well-attended meeting between him and his supporters under the aegis of the Marwa organization TMO. Speaking at the parley, the former military governor of Borno and Lagos State reminded the gathering and that they had no reason to leave for APC before, but for the fact that thousands of TMO members were denied registration into APC in Adamawa State when the party was newly formed. He urged them to forego their grievances and let bygones be bygones, stressing that with President Muhammadu Buhari in the saddle, such impunity won't happen again. It would be recalled that before the emergence of the All Progressives Congress, Mawa was the governorship candidate of the Congress for Progressive Change (CPC) in Adamawa State and was also one of the state leaders of APC at inception. President Muhammadu Buhari has met with the nation's security chiefs for the second time within a week. The meeting, which held behind closed doors, was attended by National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki, Chief of Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, and Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Usman Jibrin. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Defense, Aliyu, briefed State House correspondent at the end of the meeting.
On the meeting of the Lake Chad Basin Commission and Benin, which is with the head of states holding tomorrow, on the arrangement on the meeting held between the Chief of Defense of the Lake Chad Basin and the Ministers of Defense, which is culminating into the President's meeting.
Members of the House of Representatives have condemned the recent killing of a youth corps member in Imo State. This followed a motion raised by Kingsley Chinda, which described the killing as gruesome and unfortunate. He urged the House to call on the federal government to come up with an insurance policy to protect the lives of corps members. The police have arrested 6 suspects in connection with the death of Professor Hamid Falaki of the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Falaki was killed in Kanu by a mob who thought he was a Boko Haram member. The suspects, Iliyasu Musa, Marcus Hamid, Mantarin Mato, Bello Hassan, and Noah Ibrahim, are to be charged to court for culpable homicide. Meanwhile, the police authorities say some officers and men would also face trial for negligence in the discharge of their duties at the crime scene. They were said to have done nothing to rescue the professor and later claimed that the victim and his associates were Boko Haram members. Kano State Police Command has apprehended a 15-year-old boy, Ashimu Lawal, accused of burning his neighbor and shop owner, Nura Mashago, to death for breaking into his store. Police told CoreTV News that Lawal took the action as revenge for late Nura in order to subject him to public ridicule. Lawal had broken into late Nura's shop to steal some property, including a cell phone and 4,500 naira cash. He thereafter handed the items to his grandfather for safekeeping. Further revelations show that when Lawal's grandfather knew that the stolen items belonged to late Nura, he returned them, an action which was perceived as an affront by the 15-year-old Ashimu Lawal, hence the decision to set Nura ablaze. Kaduna State Police Public Relations Officer Zubairu Abdullahi said the suspect, Ashimu Lawal, is a thief with a track record for breaking into people's houses and shops. He was also identified as a member of Sarasuka Gang, a group known for killing people at will. Police said investigation has been completed and the suspect will be arraigned in court soon. Men of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Osun State Police Command have arrested 3 suspected kidnappers for kidnapping 11-year-old Aminat Ishola and killing her 8 days after. The mastermind, 21-year-old Babatunde Aderomu, who was a sacked staff of the bakery belonging to the victim's guardian, was arrested alongside Shina Damilare and Taufik Kola Jishomo, an Islamic cleric. Police said the kidnappers carried out the criminal act on the 21st of May this year at about 7:30 p.m. at Arugudu near Ijoku Otar area of Ogun State. The victim was then taken to Osun Jegede in Ibadan, Oyo State, where she eventually died after Ajisomo, one of the suspects in whose house the victim was kept, administered some substances suspected to be poison to her. The suspect then put her corpse in a sack and dumped it in front of Ogbere Police Division in Ibadan to escape punishment. Even at that, the still made calls to the relatives of the deceased to demand a 2 million naira ransom. The suspects have confessed to the crime as police vow to make the suspects face the full wrath of the law. In the same vein, the Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Val Ntomuchukwu, has revealed his team has arrested 5 suspects, suspected quarters at Ijebode, while arms and ammunition, and also recovered stolen items. It's CoreTV News at 4. We'll take another break. Stay with us.
Women share the most amazing thoughts on national issues, and they do it passionately.
For most men that are educated, that are exposed, will see nothing to it.
The population and the level of poverty made me cry. No infrastructural development whatsoever. And you tell me Lagos is working?
That was an accident, and it was a one-off thing. Other than that, there has never been any situation in Nigeria where a Nigerian attacked anybody just because of where they came from.
Sharing the adorable word of women in politics every week, only on CoreTV News.
The 7-month salaries owed Osun workers by the state government is taking its toll on the residents of the state. Apart from the strike embarked upon by the workers, traders in various markets in Osun State are also resolving to unintentional strike due to the low patronage. This, they say, can only change if and when salaries of the striking workers are paid by the state government. Rashid has reports from Osogbo.
It is no more news that the Osun State government is owing its workers 7-month salary arrears. Aside series of protests which later led to indefinite strike by the workforce, the effect of unpaid salaries are felt in all sectors of the state economy, especially for market women and traders with low patronage. Most of them decry low commercial activities in the market, grossly attributed to inability of the government to pay the striking workers.
People are complaining there's no market because they say government didn't pay the workers for that's
The total workforce of the Osun State Civil Service is about 20,000, and in states like Osun, which have little or no industry, the civil service is the mainstay of the state economy. According to these lamenting traders, Aregbesola should hearken to the calls of the workers.
All these workers you are seeing are borrowed and are heavily indebted. There are some who borrow up to 12,000 naira. Our advice is for Governor Rauf Aregbesola to pay the workers for us to have a pleasant celebration.
While the state government have appealed to the striking workers for patience, the workers are insisting their demand must be met. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
And now to Plateau State, where the organized labor in Plateau State on Tuesday announced the suspension of the industrial action embarked upon by the Nigeria Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, and other affiliate unions in the state to protest the non-payment of salaries and other entitlements by the outgone John Ajang administration. The workers were particularly not happy and have decided to down tools due to the non-payment of 6 to 7 months' salary by the immediate past government. However, following appeals from the Governor Simon Lalong administration, the workers on Tuesday were directed to resume work on Wednesday. It was gathered that Lalong has promised to pay 2 months of the salary arrears of workers within this week. More than 3,000 staff from 14 local government council areas of Edo State are demanding the payment of the unpaid salaries run into several months. The angry staff, decked in black cloths, protested around major streets of Benin City while carrying placards inscribed with all manner of wordings and chanting solidarity songs. The protesters called on the present administration of Governor Adams Oshomole and local government commission to offset their backlog of salaries or face their consequences. The local government staff, led by the state president of Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, Comrade Young Ilieke Kena, made this known while he led them to the State Council Secretariat of the Nigeria Union of Journalists.
At the NUJ Edo Secretariat, staffers of 14 local government councils in protest in their thousands
stormed councils to lament the untold hardship as a result of their unpaid salaries of about 5 to 9 months, observing that Eson South East, Estafel East and Owen East local government councils are the 3 councils that have so far paid and not owing staffs. NUJ state president said they are not slave and cannot be second citizens, stressing that other agencies have paid, wonder why the local government commission and the state government continue to stifle the system with continuous cry of shortfall in allocation.
We are here today to register our protest, peaceful protest, for the abandonment of local government workers for the past 8 months. For no salary. We have been dialoguing, negotiating, pleading, interventions from various quarters, but they all seem to be in vain. We went on strike for 3 days. We were being reprimanded, called troublemakers, because we demanded for our salaries.
He appealed to the NUJ to help disseminate the information while also urging the state governor to take care of its responsibility of paying teachers and not abdicate it to local government.
Other citizens that are working, they get their salary, but the local government workers, no salary. Are we second-class citizens in our own system? We want to make it clear to solve this lingering salary problem in Edo State. The state government must take its responsibility in the payment of teachers' salary. You can see from our banner, the local government pays 100% salary to teachers, while the state is paying 0.
The protesting local government employers later dispersed the NUJ ground to continue their protest, with a stern call to all staffs to continue the protest.
Meanwhile, Lagos-based legal practitioner Samuel Adeola has accused governors and states owing workers' salary of maladministration of public funds. Adeola also blamed civil servants for persevering for too long before crying out. Omotayo Alo has the details.
Industrial action and protest across various sectors of the economy is what we see these days with varying degrees in different states. The reason behind this trend also differ. Some states owe well over 4 months' salaries, while others like Plateau and Imo owe as much as 9 to 13 months of workers' entitlement. It's no news that the strike action embarked by workers, especially civil servants, is costing the country billions of naira. But the challenge remains that the workers are fed up. Report asserts that some have died, while others can simply fend for their families, a condition they are not willing to bear any longer. Commenting on the issue of unpaid salaries, a legal practitioner, Samuel Adeola, accused the governors of the affected states of negligence and lack of creativity to improve internally generated revenue.
They don't have reason to hold any salary, because if their security vote that is unaccounted for has not been tampered with, why should anybody hold salary of staffers? Are they not human beings? Are they not Nigerians? Are they not going to eat at all? You have allowed yourself to be held up to about 13 months. Like in Benue State, 13 months still counting. And you allow things to go on like that. The same governor will go out of his office. Does the governor don't hit? His family don't hit? Assembly Speaker was collecting 400 million naira. Security, oh God, for crying out loud. That's why I said the people of Nigeria is the problem of Nigeria.
He urged public leaders and private employers to take the payment of their workers more seriously, as it remains the only mechanism to ensure workers' motivation for improved services. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The ongoing crisis between the management and staff of the Federal Medical Center, Owerri, has continued with no end in sight. The facility, the biggest in Owerri, the Imo State capital, serving thousands of people, have been closed to patients for some weeks now. Correspondent Ajibade Awofeso, who has been monitoring the story, presents this update on how the people are coping with the closure of the health facility of their choice.
Here is the Accident and Emergency Department of the FMC Owerri. You can see behind me most of the beds are empty. Does it mean that there are no accidents in the state? Does it mean there are no victims of accidents? No. There are lots. Many of them have been here and they've been turned back to other health facilities simply because of the ongoing crisis between the management and workers of the FMC. The allied workers who have been observing what they describe as work and rule have been coming to the center without performing their official duties. They appear mostly in black attires against the norm of all white attires for health workers. Devoid of the usual activities, the Federal Medical Center Owerri has been like this for over 3 weeks now, with management and workers of the center at each other's throats. These workers, who refused to disclose their identities, spoke on the ongoing crisis.
It's not the same, which is supposed to be the same. Also, from other colleagues that are in the hospital who are due for promotion, some of them 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, they are being suppressed, nobody to promote them. They go for promotion, they choose, in fact they choose, they do interview, but at the end of the day they choose the people they want to promote. So many things have happened. The recent that caused the offspring was the privatization issue, as I got from how they explained to us.
As now the list was 48,000, which I'm one of the list staff. Here now 27,000. 27,000 for example, because us now the list and I was 48,000. But here now 27,000. And the promotion, Agram promotion, and we have any areas, and for that promotion,
The leaders of this joint union had a press conference today. Then yesterday they footed what the PAMSEC of Ministry of Health said, where he alleged many things on us. So for us to start work, we'll resolve. Unless she is sacked, we cannot come back to work. Period.
While the warring continues between the management and the staff, the people call on the government to come to their aid and provide lasting solution. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
The National Emergency Management Agency has assumed full responsibility for the provision of foodstuff to internally displaced persons IDPs camp in Maiduguri, Borno State. The decision came on the heels of a recent assessment by NEMA management and Borno State government on the welfare situation in the camp. NEMA spokesman Manzal Ezekiel said in a statement that the move is to improve the welfare of IDPs sheltered in 22 locations, those staying in host communities. Until now, the Borno State government had augmented the supply of foodstuff by NEMA, but it made an appeal to the federal government through the agency to take full responsibility for the feeding of the IDPs. The state government would now sponsor other items not covered by the agency, in addition to providing more toilet facilities for displaced persons. It's CoreTV News at 4. We'll take another break. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. It's CoreTV News at 4 now. Sports. Super Eagle head coach Stephen Keshi is optimistic that his team will beat their counterparts from Chad, having failed to qualify in the last Nations Cup. He was speaking at a press briefing ahead of the 2017 World Cup Gabon qualifier slated for the Ahmadu Bello Stadium in Kaduna. Amina Nebi has more of the report presented from our studios.
Normally it should be a competitive game, a competitive match, but I don't really know much about the Chadians, and so we expect
expect a tough outing.
I think they are expecting winning. We need to win the game, that's all.
It's unfortunate we couldn't qualify for the last Nations Cup, but I think we have learned that has teach us a lot of lessons.
We are here to correct every mistake, and we don't have any excuse. It's just a second chance, just like a second chance that's been given to us.
The spirit of the team is good, and everyone is geared up for the game on Saturday. So hopefully we'll come out, winners.
The motivation is going to start this weekend. Winning the game this weekend, by God's grace, is going to give the team more motivation and Nigerians more motivation, and they will be happy that.
The bidding process for the 2026 World Cup has been postponed amid allegations around the 2018 and 2022 tournaments, as FIFA Secretary General Jerome Valk said it was a nonsense to begin the process in the current climate. The vote to decide who will host the 2026 World Cup is due to take place in Kuala Lumpur in May 2017, and the United States are front runners to stage the tournament. But Canada, Mexico and Colombia are also thought to be interested. Russia and Qatar were selected to host the 2018 and 2022 World Cups by a secret ballot of FIFA's 22 executive members in December 2010. But Swiss prosecutors are now investigating alleged financial irregularities surrounding the bidding process, as Russia and Qatar have denied any wrongdoing. Sir Christopher Lee, the veteran actor and star of many of the world's biggest films, has died aged 93. The English-born actor, who made his name playing Dracula in the Hammer horror films, appeared in more than 215 movies. He was best known for his villainous roles, including Scramanda in James Bond and Evil Wizard in The Lord of the Rings. The actor's other credits include The Wicker Man and Star Wars. The actor is reported to have died on Sunday at Chelsea and in a hospital in London after being hospitalized for respiratory problems and heart failure. Born into affluence in London in 1922, Sir Christopher traced his lineage to Charles Mang, the first Holy Roman Emperor. After public school, he served in the Royal Air Force Volunteer Reserve during the Second World War, while he was mentioned in dispatches. His screen career began when he joined the rank organization in 1947, training as an actor in their so-called charm school. It was his association with British Studio Hammer that made him a household name, playing characters in A Monster, like The Monster, The Mummy and Dracula in the late 1950s. Landslides and floods have hit 6 villages and killed at least 15 people in eastern Nepal, officials say. This comes weeks after much of Nepal was devastated by 2 earthquakes that left more than 8,000 people dead. Torrential rain in the Taplegon region caused the Mewa and Terror rivers to burst into banks, triggering the landslides. Landslides are common during Nepal's monsoon season, which begins this month and lasts till September. Officials and rescue workers say that the death toll could still rise at least 15 people, and the villages of Libang and Kothing remain unaccounted for. And that's the news for this hour. Thank you so much for staying on with us. Please join us again. I am Gift or Getter. Good evening.